I simulated 10 years on Football Manager and decided to pick a team that I think needed a rebuild. After all of this time, including the time that we've had in real life, the 10 years into the future, there's one club that really stood out. Over to myself and of course my special guest, co-host, assistant manager, Omega Dad. Right, welcome back, Dad. We are 10 seasons into the future.
Okay.
And this is what the Premier League looks like. And the reason why I've gone to the Premier League, even though I simulated all of the other leagues, the Premier League is where we are destined to be this season. I had a look through all the different leagues, and they're very similar in the other leagues to what it usually was. Now, the Premier League has been dominated by the Manchester clubs. Liverpool got a little bit of a win there, a couple of trophies in there, but Manchester City has completely dominated the 2020s. However, there is another Merseyside club in Liverpool who have been very drab in Everton.
The Toffees.
The Toffees.
Up the Toffees.
So if we take a look at Everton's history in the last 10 seasons, we can see down here 12th, 9th, 17th, 2 seasons in a row, scraping by relegation. In one season, they had 31 points and they still didn't get relegated.
Lucky.
Very lucky indeed. They never really finished above 6th place, which was in the 22-23 season. And it kind of just screamed to me. We've had a lot of people asking me to do Everton. This was the perfect time, I think, to do Everton in this, because they haven't even won an FA Cup or a domestic trophy whatsoever. They've basically just been Premier League and done nothing whatsoever. So, I'm going to take a look at the manager history before we actually take over the club. We've got a few recognisable names in here. Yeah. David Unsworth taking over there. Eddie Howe.
I like him.
I like Eddie Howe too. Bit done dirty, I think, in Bournemouth. He's done very well for them.
I was hoping that he would take the Spurs job when they sacked Mourinho.
Yeah, that would have been a good choice, to be fair. That would have been his big break, I think.
Yeah, it would have been.
Leighton Baines.
That's a strange one.
It's a strange
He's still
one.
playing at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, he is obviously a bit of an Everton legend. He's done very well for them. Joaquin, another legendary player, is still playing as we're talking now. Leighton Baines came back. Yeah, he's caretaker manager both times. So I'm guessing he was assistant manager. Yeah. And then the most recent manager, Michael O'Neill's the Northern Ireland manager right now, I think he is.
He's a good, steady manager. I like him.
Yeah, not bad. Actually, he's the Stoke manager at 2020. So he's left Stoke. I don't know what he's doing right now in real life, but yeah, he is currently in charge of Everton until we ultimately boot him out the door and I take over, or we take over as manager and assistant manager. But before we take over Everton, of course, you guys have been sending in a lot of suggestions. We're going to do another one of your suggestions, but giving you 2 options. Now we're going to go overseas, aren't we? We've done 5 rebuilds now, I think it is, all in the Premier League. It's time to go overseas. My choice is Valencia. I love their youth team. I've seen how much in debt they are, and I think it'll be a bit of a challenge. I want to bring them back to what I remember Valencia at the start of the 2000s under Rafa Benitez. We mentioned it in the Leeds rebuild, how good they actually were. They got to a Champions League final. They won the league a couple of times. I want to bring them back to glory because I think there's 3 big teams in Spain who need to be brought down a peg or 2. Yeah. What's your club overseas that you'd like us to rebuild?
I'm going to pick a team that I used to watch a lot of, mainly because they had an English player playing for them, Paul Gascoigne. Lazio.
I did have a feeling. There's only a couple of teams I thought then. Lazio.
Yeah. And I used to watch them quite a lot. It was on Channel 4 on the telly when the Italian football went sort of like big, before they had a lot of money problems over there. Gascoigne was over there, loved the league. It was a really good league to watch.
Well, that was the best league at the time to watch.
Yeah,
that was the Premier League of what it was back then. Yeah.
So we'll go for Lazio.
Okay, so that is down to you then, viewers. Valencia or Lazio, let us know down in the comments and we will pick which one gets voted the most. So here we are, 1st of June 2031, and we have become Everton manager. The reason why we're coming back is because I want to show us how bad this team really is. It is honestly tragic, and I don't understand how they managed to finish 12th this season. This is a relegation team in my eyes, looking at it, and they spent a lot of money as well. So we take a look at the squad. There is some recognisable names. We have Dominic Calvert-Lewin still at the club. However, though he's 34 now and his physicals aren't what they used to be, he has stayed at the club throughout and he's had some decent seasons. A couple of times he's got over 15 goals in those seasons. Never had his big move break. We have a young Mexican at the start of the game. Of course, now he's 31. That people may recognise as Wonder Kid on the game. Jose Juan Macias. Thierry Small, a left-back wonder kid that we know about on this channel. He is still at the club, going to be our starting left-back. He is absolutely fantastic, but one of really only good players, and he's worth £50 million. That's a lot of money. But the best player in this team, and the current Premier League top scorer, is the 21-year-old. He come through the Everton youth ranks, Daniel Lewis. Right. So he is an Evertonian.
Yeah.
£74 million, and he is absolutely phenomenal. Some unbelievable physical attributes here on the striker. A lot of 17s and 19 in stamina and balance as well. Some great mental attributes, and of course, the technicals. He's a very good finisher of the ball. He's good at dribbling, good first touch. He's got 19 for technique out of 20. Yeah. He's 6'2" as well.
We've got something to work with then, really.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's a start, isn't it?
Yeah, and if all else fails, he can also play really poorly at centre-back. We won't be going down that route. He is going to be the main focal point of this whole rebuild. As soon as I chose Everton and I clicked and I seen this player, I was like, get him. Because honestly, the rest of the club is absolutely dreadful and really aging.
We've got a bit of work to do.
We have. If we take a look by age, there's a few players here that are over the age of 30 or above, all the way down to this guy and above. And there's a few players who are really good in Football Manager, but of course when they get to that age, it's just not really much point. There's a few regens, they're just nowhere near. You can see by the star rating compared to Daniel Lewis, who's 5-star, there's a lot of like 2 stars. And that's like their starting right back, for example. It just needs a massive overhaul if we want to try and finish somewhere near the top 4. So I personally think, as a target for this rebuild, it should be to get them into the Champions League.
Yeah.
If we get, and probably a domestic trophy as well, if we manage to win something.
Got to be FA Cup, isn't it?
FA Cup, especially with Everton, they've got a bit of a history with the FA Cup. If we manage to win something, I think that's a huge bonus, but I am going to try my best and build this team.
What's the worst part of the issue that Everton have got with the FA Cup?
I don't know, tell me.
They are the team that's lost the most semi-finals in the FA Cup.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, okay, so we need to change that.
Yes.
We need to change that. I mean, they got retiring Victor Lindelof. That just shows how bad they are. Okay, so we're at the first game of the season. Our original budget was £55 million. So I had a little bit of transfer budget, but the balance of the actual club is not that great because I don't know whether they have any debts. They have a £50 million debt, but it doesn't really show in this simulation. They gave us a little bit of money to play with, and I have been very busy in this transfer window. On the outs, I only managed to actually sell £3.5 million, but what I did have was some money left over from the previous transfer budget before I actually started spending money here. So all of these players you're not going to recognise because a lot of them are regens, other than one which already was a deal signed, Christian Romero. I had nothing to do with it. It was already at the end of contract. He is 33 now, so they do need centre backs, I'm not going to lie, but that's not who I would have bought. I bought this guy instead from CSK Moscow for £10 million. He is fantastic. He is unbelievable. There's so many greens, so much to like about this guy, and he's only 21. 14 for marking slightly worries me, but he's 6'1". He's very capable, and he's just so much better than what they had before. 17 position, I think, is crucial, and he's pacey as well, so he can save himself. And even though he only has 14 for marking, he has marks opponents tightly, which is I like that as a player trait. 16 for passing, 14 for vision.
They might come out then with the ball.
Yeah, he's a ball-playing defender. I like him a lot. So it's a good signing for £10 million from CSK Moscow. I also signed a couple of centre midfielders, starting off with this Frenchman. So he's not fantastic, but it's kind of, with this Everton team, their reputation has dropped so much. It's kind of all we can possibly get.
Work rate's good.
Work rate is very good. We picked him up for £13 million. He's transfer listed by Lyon, and if he's not good enough for Lyon, then it's going to be a struggle to get into being like a Premier League contender with this type of player. But he's still young. I'm thinking we've bought him for quite young. He's already worth £26 million. Potentially flip him in the future, and that's when we start bringing in some better players. Other players that we have brought in, we have this Frenchman, and I think this guy's a lot better, a bit more of a solid all-rounder. And again, he's young, 21 years of age. Jan Hui from Stade Reims.
First touch, really good box.
Really good first touch. Great mentally as well. High aggression, which is great in regards to the tactic. Very aggressive. Wants to attack the ball as soon as he hasn't got it. We got him from Rennes for £20 million, a little bit more than the other one, but I think it's been worth it. Other players, we have this guy out. We've got this guy in on loan, just as a backup to our striker. On loan from Watford, so I don't know why Watford's given away this player because he looks absolutely fantastic, like really good physically, and he's going to be a backup to Daniel Lewis, which he needs a backup. Give him a rest. The other players, we have signed a couple of other players before the season ticked over, so let's take a look at some of them. Starting off with a player who's actually a real life player. player. Yeah, Duomo, he's really young on the game at the start, so he's only 27, 10 years in the future. He's a really good centre midfielder. He can play a little bit further forward as well, or on this right-hand side, which I think I'm playing him on this for this season. Good physically, he's 6'2" as well. We picked him up nearly £30 million from Hertha Berlin.
All right.
He's played in the Premier League before for Leicester, had a good season there as well, 4 goals, 3 assists, then got purchased by Hertha for £28 million. We've pretty much signed him for the same money. So I think he's going to be a very valuable asset because, like I said, we didn't have a lot of options in midfield or going forward. Our first sign of the transfer window, though, was a young Brazilian, 20 years of age, Kelvin Eduardo, and this guy looks great. He looks fantastic, has some really good attributes for that left-hand side. He's going to be a danger, hopefully, because he's left-footed as well. Got decent crossing, some balls played in.
Good, passing
yeah,
good.
Exactly. Some balls to be played in for Daniel Lewis.
And he's Brazilian.
He's Brazilian.
We like our Brazilians.
Must be good. Everton's got a couple of good Brazilians right now. Obviously, they're not at the club in real life. And this guy kind of fits that bill. Very similar type of player. But in my opinion, the best player that we have signed this season is Julio Mercado, 19 years of age, Uruguayan. I love a good Uruguayan. It's almost a South American, to be honest. But this guy looks unbelievable. Plays across that front three or up top. 18 for dribbling.
Yeah, very good.
19 flair, which
bravery,
means
18 as well.
He's
so he's a solid player as well, isn't he?
Really good physicals. Like I say, he's 19 years of age. We picked him up from Penarol, which is one of those really good Uruguayan teams to look out for these youngsters for $9 million.
Scored 13 goals last season as well.
13 in just 15 games. With an 8 average rating out of 10, which is absolutely class. So we managed to pick him up because he had a release clause of £9 million. And I think he's going to be a game changer this season. And this is what we're going to run the team like. We're playing my Fiorentina 4-2-2-2. I will deviate from this because I understand we've used this tactic quite often. But it just works, and it works with the team that we have. I've left a couple of positions free. We've got that right-sided player at centre-back because there's a few players there that can play there. We've got Branthwaite, who's still at the club. He's 29. He's okay. He's not amazing. Starts off in the game, he's 6'5", so he's a bit deadly if you got him from set pieces. And of course, they signed a couple of centre-backs as well that we've already seen next to Usmanov. Our right back Garcia, who I mentioned earlier, is only 2-star. He's very terrible, but he's the best right back that we have. It's something that we'll look at in further seasons. We just don't simply have the money yet. Kelvin Eduardo on the left. Duomo, I'm using him on the right. I could have used him in centre mid, but I want to see what he can produce because he has that really good dribbling, very good physical attributes. I think he could be deadly for us on that right hand side with Lewis and Mercado up top. Mercado is going to play the Harry Kane role. He's got really good vision, good passing. He's going to unlock defenses for us. Fantastic off the ball. And we're just, this guy's aim is just to score goals. Yeah. Just to get us out of trouble. Score a lot of goals, please, Daniel. Now, on the previous rebuild video, on the Leeds video, Dad asked you to hit a like button 1,313 times. And you guys absolutely smashed that within a week.
Yeah.
You killed that.
Happy with that?
So, Dad, like target again, please.
I'm not going to go too far above it because I thought we've done really well.
Yeah.
So, a bit better. I'm going to go for 1,500 this time.
I don't think I've ever hit 1,500.
Have you?
No.
Well, there's a big challenge in it. So
big
come
challenge.
on then. Let's make him hit 1,500 likes then. Let's do it.
1,500 likes. Hit that like button now. So here we are. Premier League first season with Everton, and we finish in 5th place.
Get in.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
With that defence as well.
With that defence. So we've got Usmanov, who we're kind of relying on to keep our clean sheets because the goalkeeper we have is also terrible. We didn't take a look at him, but he's just dreadful, viewers. Somehow we finished above Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal, Tottenham. All of these teams who are banging around the Premier League still. Burnley finishing in 4th place. I mean, it's questionable, but it does look like that we've had a place taken away.
We must have scored a lot of goals. That's what
Burnley, I feel sorry for them before we go any further because Arsenal are in the Champions League somehow and Tottenham are in the Champions League somehow. So one of them's won the Europa League, one of them's won the Champions League, which just means Burnley, who has finished 4th, only gets Europa League. So you got to feel for that.
Yeah.
But Daniel Lewis, 47 goals just in the Premier League. Just in the Premier League.
Got it then, wasn't it?
38 games, 47 goals. I've rarely seen a higher tally than that. 101 shots he had. Beat out the likes of Erling Haaland as well. Mercado's up there too. 24 goals.
Well, that's why we got what we did, isn't it?
Exactly. We needed to score a lot of goals. Kelvin Eduardo there with 16 assists. Daniel Lewis with 17. He got the most man of the matches by a clear country mile as well. 5 above Chelsea's player there. And yellow cards is both of our centre-backs. So as much as we did well attacking wise, we probably conceded a lot of goals as well. And we finished on 69 points, and that's a naughty number.
Yeah.
FA Cup, we were knocked out in the quarter-final by Manchester United. Carabao Cup, knocked out in the semi-final by Chelsea.
Losing in the semi-finals.
It is, but it's only the Carabao Cup. Nobody cares. Champions League winners was Arsenal. They beat PSG in the final, which is... They've actually won it twice, to be fair. PSG's
Is Messi still playing for them?
It's Messi still playing. Well, in this database, if he did, he'd be like 46.
Yeah.
So probably not. So that must mean that Europa League winners is Spurs. Indeed, they beat Manchester United 5-0.
Get in.
5-0. So they've done really well, to be fair. I mean, that is a huge result, beating Manchester United 5-0. And considering Man United finished in the top 4 as well. So a nice little early boost for you for morale as the assistant manager. You've had a good season as the assistant manager of Everton, but also your favourite team Spurs beating Manchester United 5-0 in the final. Now, we don't have a sponsor for this video, but there is something that I would like to discuss. I have dreams, viewers, of becoming a full-time content creator, and as much as we are fully on our way to doing that, I'm not quite there yet, but you can help me. In fact, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/MegaLukeGaming. I don't really talk about it enough, maybe, but it is the link down in the description. There's tiers from £1.50 all the way up. As much as you can physically support me, if you'd like to take your support to the extra level, then Patreon is definitely the best way to do that. I have a goal on there, I believe, of around about £750, which will help get me to full time. If we can ever hit that, that would be absolutely fantastic. And just thank you for just keep watching me, for keeping the comments coming, the likes, donating on Twitch, subbing on Twitch, everything like that. Honestly, really do appreciate it. Patreon is there if you would like to donate on there as well. Thank you very much. Back to the video. So we are back for the second season, and we have sold this man, Alex Pancadas, who we had for £29 million. We sold him for £39 million to Villa.
Right.
Nowhere near, he could not make in our team. He's just not, I don't understand how Villa decided to pay that much money, but we'll accept it because we have a better right back who's also dreadful, and we're going to try and save that. But it's just a lot of money to put into our own transfer budget. And that wasn't the only transfer out. We actually had a few players going out. Obviously, they're all like not real life players, they're regenerated players, which amounted to another £89 million in total, really boosting our transfer budget to bring in and start this rebuild properly.
We're going to start from the back.
We have. Starting off with our number one, the man in the sticks, Ewan Pike, a Welsh goalkeeper, 70 caps for Wales by the time he's 27.
Good. What, the
Very
rugby team?
good. The rugby team. They're better with their hands.
Yeah.
So yeah, we bought him from Arsenal, actually. Ewan Pike, he was their backup goalkeeper for some reason, and I think he's absolutely fantastic. I really like this guy. He's a lot better than what we had before. We did have to spend £16 million, and he's barely played, so I just think, it is one full season is all he's played as a goalkeeper, and yet he is still this good. Probably because he's just doing a Gareth Bale, not playing for his club and only for Wales. Yeah. We'll take it though. He is our new number one.
Definitely, yeah.
I signed a South African player. One, because I like South African players, and two, when you go a little bit further into the game, they are really cheap. They are ridiculously cheap, and this guy just gives us a little bit more squad depth. And he is good, to be fair. If we had to start him, it wouldn't be a bad thing. He's nowhere near like Premier League greatness. But this guy, 650k. He's playing cheap. Yeah, he's playing well for the South African team, Sundowns, who I think are the best team in the league. So we've got to be happy with that because it's so cheap and he's only 20. It's something to just work on, and he's good, like I mentioned, for squad depth. Yeah. A free transfer from PSG. 18 years of age, a young French centre midfielder, and he already looks really good. Passing of 17, vision, work rate, technique. A lot to like about this guy really early on. Again, used for squad depth, but also if he does grow into something, he has that 5-star potential, whether we see that. Barely played for PSG's first team. In fact, I don't think he's started a game, but for PSG too, he's played quite a lot and done very well. So for a free transfer, it's not bad whatsoever. Just knocking around at the end of his contract, we picked him up. Now, another centre-back, because we've highlighted how our defence is quite weak. This guy is more for the future, I think, because he's 19 and he was a little bit cheap. My scouts found him because I've got a couple of scouts in South America, hence the signings from last season. We picked him up from Racing Club, £5.5 million. He hasn't even played a game of football for them, but he does look quite good. It's potential. He's 6'2", he has a good potential. There are some weaknesses, obviously, but he can grow into a good player, and he's already valued quite a lot. So again, I'm thinking we can flip him.
Yeah.
And he's nowhere near some of the signings that we have made this season. Ridiculous. Nowhere near as good as this. Niall Healy is a right back. We needed a right back. I highlighted how bad our right back was. This guy is absolutely fantastic. Irish. So we're keeping this very British theme here with Everton, as well as bringing in some South Americans. 5'7", so he's not exactly the tallest, but he's really quick. Reminds me of Seamus Coleman. He is basically a reincarnated version of Seamus Coleman.
Coming from Leeds as well at his work rate 16.
Exactly. I mean, that makes sense. Bielsa's probably not there still, but we picked him up. I mean, he hasn't ever played for Leeds. He's been on loan every single season. Last season was at Brighton in the Premier League, so he is a Premier League player. £20 million, but I think he's worth it. He has some great attributes. He's only 22, 31 caps for Ireland. Let's go. Now we're talking some first team players though with this very hairy man, Rasmussen. Danish, £7 million he's now worth, and already a very hard-working midfielder. Some really good attributes to highlight again. A lot of 17s, fast touch, very composed player.
Yeah.
5'10" as well, so good average height for that centre midfield. He's only 20.
Good for that age.
A lot of under 21 caps. We picked him up from Copenhagen, £12 million. He's only played 10 games for them, but I'm wondering why, because he is absolutely fantastic. A lot of good attributes here. Teamwork, vision, work rate, all 15 or above. Solid. I think he could be an outstanding player for us going forward. But the biggest signing this season was Barry Clark. Welsh, 23, 20 caps this season. Our second Welsh player, our third British player that we've picked up. His physicals are fantastic. 17s, 18s. He's a left-footed left winger, which perfectly suits our tactic. We're using wingers right now, and he's got good crossing good
and
dribbling.
Very good, yeah.
So he's going to supply the goods, hopefully, for Daniel Lewis and get some more goals for Daniel Lewis. We have spent a little bit of money on him, though, unfortunately, because Fulham got relegated this season. He is Fulham's best player, and we still managed to knock them down from their asking price, but we still paid £68 million. But for a relegated team, he got 7.18 average rating.
10 goals as well.
5 assists, 4 player of the matches. He's going to be very crucial for this season. If we do take a look at the tactic, this is what it looks like. We have changed very slightly. We have moved very slightly. We are going to the point where, do you remember a couple of rebuilds ago where I didn't fill a lot of places? And because we are first season in Europe. So I don't want to tire them out.
No.
My system manager knows what our good players is. And I have slightly changed the inverted winger, which will suit Kevin and the other guy that we've got both playing on that left-hand side. We're going to see how that goes. It might change, it might not. But I think this could be a very good season for us. Healy's coming in at right back. We've got our boys up top who are scoring goals, getting assists. We've got another decent centre-back to go alongside Usmanov. And we've got Pike in goal. Yeah, the Welsh first choice goalkeeper. Let's have a look to see how we do. But before we take a look at the results for the second season, what is your biggest memories of Everton, Dad? Because obviously they were a big club in the 80s when you were in your 20s.
There was always there or thereabouts. Some good strikers around at the time as well. I like my strikers. Gary Lineker, one of my favourites, obviously English main striker, really.
Love Gary Lineker.
But the best history I've got of Everton is the only one time I supported Everton, really, was the 1984 FA Cup final.
Right.
Which they won 2-0. Gary Sharp and Andy Gray scored.
Yeah.
Andy Gray scored a good goal at the far post, took the keeper out and just edited it into the net type of thing. But the reason why I supported Everton that particular day was Watford beat Plymouth Argyle in the semi-final at Villa Park. 1-0. Absolutely gutted I was that we nearly got to the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
So really, that's my main history with Everton. Sort of one I sort of stick to. But I will give you a few history bits about them.
Okay.
Right. Where did Everton play before they played at Goodison Park?
Oh, God knows. Anfield?
Yes.
Oh, did they?
They were the lodgers at Anfield, and the caretaker of Anfield fell out over money wise. So Everton decided to move.
Oh, and of course they didn't move very far either. We've been to both grounds.
Yeah, we walked from one pitch to the other pitch.
Yeah.
So it's not very far at all. The other history I've got is Goodison Park is the first ground in England to have dugouts, floodlights, and undersoil heating.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's quite cool.
A little bit of history that I found out.
It looks like they haven't changed it since either. That ground really does need a new. Or they got a new stadium coming up.
I would say by the time this comes out, really, the 10 years that they're probably playing in the new stadium.
Yeah. I mean, I think Everton fans are well overdue because I've seen a few seats from that ground and it just looks like there's just a big pylon in front of.
Well, can you remember when we went and looked at that ground?
Yeah.
How close the houses are to the stadium? You walk out of your front door and it was like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they deserve to
Well
get a new
overdue.
thing. Yeah,
Well
definitely,
overdue.
yeah.
Right, so we're back at the end of the second season, and we have finished in
Get
third
in.
place. We could have been
Up and down
better
again,
as
better.
well. Yeah, because we got a very bad end of the
Look how we
season.
lost as well.
Yeah, so we drew 2, lost
We were
3.
thereabouts before those games as well. Look.
Seriously bad. If we do actually take a look at the past positions, at a few points we were top. We were top for a few points. In fact, we were top at match day 33.
Oh.
So with 5 games left, at one point we were top, and that's when we didn't actually win a game after that. So we dropped down massively, and then into third place. And Manchester City, who were pretty much third or second all the way, overtook us. Manchester United, who were also sharing that third. So it was basically the top 3 were us and the 2 Manchester clubs, which is quite a fantastic season, to be honest. I think
fans will be happy with that.
Yeah, considering where we were. Daniel Lewis, however, I mean, he's dropped off 10 goals. He's only scored 37 and 38, which, what is he doing? Pull your finger out, Daniel. Come on. Erling Haaland, though, has only scored 27, so he still scored 10 more than the next team. So that's not bad at all. He had more shots this season, too, so he really is...
Well, we did buy that over Wenger, didn't we? Put the balls over for him, so...
He's slacking. Highest average rating, though. Second most assists and joint player of the matches. Ken Usmanov with the most yellow cards. Other competitions, though, we were the runner-up in the Europa League. Unfortunately, semi-final of the FA Cup.
By Liverpool.
The
worst team.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, isn't it? So let's take a look at the Europa League because we lost 3-2 to Arsenal, who are, of course, the Champions League winners. Got knocked out in the group stage of the Champions League and then ended up beating us in the final 3-2.
Took 3-2 as well.
Absolutely gutted. Yeah, Lewis scored 22 goals, by the way, in the Europa League alone. The next person was Mercado. He scored 11. So he scored double what the second person was. Phil Roberts, an Arsenal player, scored a hat-trick in the final. He's not even that good. He's a left midfielder. He actually is good, but he's left midfielder. Daniel Lewis got 2. It was not good enough. In fact, it does look like we went 1-0 up, but then they went 3-1 up very quickly. He scored a hat-trick in 5 minutes in a final, which has got to be a record for sure. Daniel Lewis pulling it back on the 75th minute. But yeah, unfortunately, Daniel Lewis had 22 goals, Mercado with 11. He had a fantastic Europa League, Daniel Lewis. And it must be said, I am struggling to keep hold of him. A lot of players, a lot of clubs are coming in for this player, but unfortunately, we're just trying to keep hold of him. He scored 69 goals this season. That's a naughty number. 22 assists in the league across the season as well, which means his goals per game, or his goal participation to game ratio is like Lionel Messi levels, because that is ridiculous amounts of goals. Mercado as well. I mean, that's a fantastic season. If your striker scores 33 and 60 and gets 18 assists, you're like, what a world-class striker. And yet he's going to live in the shadows of Daniel Lewis. He's still doing a very fantastic job. Daniel Lewis is worth £91 million.
We can keep him for one more season.
One more season.
He'll be worth the 100 million then, won't he?
His overall happiness is slightly happy. Mercado, very unhappy. He wants to leave. He wants a new deal.
Well, we've got to give him a new deal.
Got to give him a new deal. So, on the outs, we really didn't have a lot going on the outs, but we had a backup centre midfielder or right midfielder go out £22 million, and that totaled to just £47 million. Our original budget was about 48, so we had about £100 million to play with, and I spent that very well. At the end of the last season, we picked up one player by the name of Nicao from Flamengo. He looks a lot older than 19. That's the regen face pack that we have. Chilled Moose, by the way, if people are going to ask. And the skin is FM Renzi version 2. So, anyway, I mean, he's a fantastic Brazilian player. Plays in that cam position, which is the only downside to him, because we don't actually have a cam right now. We're not using one. Mercado's a striker. This guy, really, I bought because I felt like we could flip him eventually, because he's only costing us £13 million.
Good.
Yet his ability looks absolutely fantastic.
First touch is good as well. Look.
Yeah, for a 19-year-old. So whether we manage to shoehorn him into the club in the future, because we've loaned him out to Benfica as a starting player.
Right.
A little bit of tactical, I think, play on this, because it could be good for us in the future. Other players that we have signed, though, obviously we had a fantastic season, almost win the league at some point. It was just the end of the season. So I've signed 2 really good players, one being Rudy St. Luce. He is a right midfielder, what we're going to use, to be honest, but he can also play in centre midfielder. He's fantastic. He's one of the best players on that right-hand side
20 on every termination
in the game. Absolutely outstanding. 17 for passing, 18 for vision, Really good physicals. He's 6'1" as well. 27 years of age now. We bought him from Borussia Dortmund for £45 million. He's originally played for Manchester City, so he's played in the Premier League and done very well. He had a very high average rating in the Premier League. We've brought him back. After a few very good seasons in the Bundesliga, including 13 goals in just 28 games as a midfielder, we've brought him back to the Premier League. I think this guy could be absolutely phenomenal for us. Really, really talented player. Now, we have also signed this man, Tony Vlad, and I see him straight away and I thought, what a left back, because Thierry Small is good, but this guy I personally think is better. However, we signed him and there was a problem. He doesn't have a work permit. Work permit problems again. Even though he has 11 caps for Romania, I don't understand. He's been playing in Romania. For £15 million we purchased him. As a left back, he scored 12 goals.
The season before they scored 21.
I know. I don't understand where they've been playing in. But Tony Vlad, what made it even more annoying is I had to bat off Arsenal and I had to bat off, I think was Chelsea, to sign this man, and yet I still can't register him for a work permit. So I don't know what the hell they were going to do with him.
No.
This is before this. We are about to start the season, so I've had to try and sign somebody else who might get a work permit if he does come in. He's nowhere near as good as Tony Vlad. He's 22, Christopher Berg from Bodo Glimt. But when I asked if I ask availability, it does say their work permit chance likely. So he should get it, but the deal hasn't gone over the line before we have started, and I can't do anything about it. As you can see here as well, we are rejecting some bids for about £9 million. I've been a bit cheeky. I set the asking price for Daniel Lewis really cheap, so that teams come in and be like, oh, I'll give you 11 million. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
So it's the only way I'm keeping him. Whether you think that's an exploit or not, let me know down in the comments. But he is just absolutely phenomenal right now, and it's been very difficult to try and keep hold of him because he's disappointed not to join Barcelona.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he wants to leave big time. So the end of the third season.
It's brilliant.
It's
but who beat us?
Sweet, yeah, it's very bittersweet. The two Manchester clubs dropped off massively, 5th and 7th. We finished 2nd. And it does look really unfortunate because it looks like Liverpool just had an unbelievable season, to be honest. They scored 104 goals. They've still got Haaland. They were the champions.
We hit 98 goals, mind you, look.
Yeah, 98 goals in total. Only conceded 39. Good goal difference, 89 points. Very good end of the season. Look how difficult that run of games was. We beat Liverpool. We beat Chelsea. We beat Tottenham. We beat Man City. And we drew against Norwich. But it doesn't matter because, it was the end.
I think the fans would be happy that we beat Liverpool, especially seeing they won the league.
Exactly. We're 13 points clear of 3rd place. We've had a fantastic season. Have we won a trophy?
Come on.
We have not. Unfortunately, Champions League. We got knocked down the quarter-final of the Champions League by Hertha Berlin. 5th round by Luton. Luton knocked us out. They're not in the Premier League, but they still knocked us out. And the Carabao Cup, the 3rd round by Leicester. So the FA Cup was actually won by Liverpool this season. They beat Spurs in the final. And if we take a look at the Champions League, that was won by Atletico Madrid. Hertha got to the final, but Atletico Madrid won it after 2 years of it being won by an English club. We could not continue that. Mercado, though, 9 goals. Barry Clark, highest average rating. Daniel Lewis got the most assists, and that is because this season it's been a little bit difficult for Daniel Lewis. Maybe his head's not in the game anymore. Only 44 goals in 52 games. However, Mercado has really bumped up his goals tally, 32 with 16 assists. He's been fantastic. Barry Clark coming in, 18 goals. They're starting to spread out the goals a little bit more. We can see a few assists down here as well.
We should be knocking in really 44 goals. It's still good.
Still a huge amount, isn't it? Mercado, though, is really stepping up, and what a player. Look at that. There's a couple of 20s in there. Like, for a 22-year-old now, he is unbelievable. He is also getting a lot of interest coming in for him, and at £9 million we bought him for. Look how good he's been. Unbelievable. £79 million he's now worth. I've given him a new deal to keep him, and he's now on 165k a week. Worth it.
Nearly as much as me.
Nearly as much as what I'm paying you for this video. So you need to make sure you're smashing the like button and leaving comments so that the YouTube algorithm can pick this up so I can afford to pay Dad. Right, Dad, we spoke about your memories of Everton. Of course, we know that you always have abundance of players that you like for each club. Who are your legends that played in an Everton shirt?
Well, I think Everton, you've got to start with going back before my time as well, Dixie Dean.
Yeah.
All right. I believe 383 goals.
Okay.
In total, he scored for Everton, and he scored 60 goals in one season.
That's
So he's
still the record.
He's a legend.
It's almost Daniel Lewis
Absolute legend.
levels.
Yeah. One of the good memories I've got about Everton as well over the years, Neville Southall.
Neville Southall.
What a
good
keeper.
goalkeeper.
Absolutely. The scruffiest goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But what a keeper.
Yeah.
Next legend, my strikers has got to be Gary Lineker.
Gary Lineker, yeah, we mentioned before.
But there's another striker that I do like, and you're probably going to know this one. Big Dunk.
Big Dunk Ferguson.
Yeah. I mean, at this present moment, he was
assistant manager.
And he was caretaker man. He's done a couple of games and pulled him through, didn't he? So I love it. I'd watch the games that he's played, and I remember when he was playing in Scotland. I think he punched the player.
Yeah. Can you imagine playing against him as a centre back?
I don't want to.
Not at all.
I would have never wanted to play against him. Recent players. One of your favourites is going to be because of who he played for.
Wayne Rooney.
He's an Evertonian.
Yeah.
You know,
and he went back to them as well.
And he went back
and
to
did
them,
well, yeah.
So at this present moment, he's manager of Derby County. So yeah, he was one of my favourites as well for what he'd done for England as well. Really.
Yeah.
But one of my favourite players for Everton has got to be Peter Reid.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the reason why. Peter Reid, 2010, was Plymouth Argyle's manager.
Yeah.
Right? Plymouth Argyle, at that time, we nearly folded.
Yeah.
Out of money and all that completely. Peter Reid went into the office and all the girls in the office were wearing coats. He said, what's going on? So the girl said, well, we haven't paid the heating bill. We can't afford to pay the heating bill. Went straight to his pocket, pulled his card out, on the phone, paid the heating bill. Then he found out that we were going to have to lay some of the girls off in the office and things like that because we couldn't afford to pay the wages. Do you know what he'd done? He sold one of his FA Cup losers medals and paid their wages with that money.
Yeah. Touch of class. Got no affiliation to the club other than being the manager at the time.
That's right. So to me, he is my biggest Everton legend.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of respect for Peter Reid
for
just doing what he'd done for Argyle. Unfortunately, things didn't work for him at Argyle, but
I think he was wrongly dismissed as well.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
really do think he was wrongly dismissed. I would have given him another season at least.
I think that's probably they couldn't afford to pay his wages.
No, that's probably the reason why. They're like, Peter, have you got any other medals you can sell? No, shit.
And I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'd like to think it's right. I did hear a rumour that he got that medal back.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah.
I would like to think that he did.
Yeah.
So I hope you did, Peter, if you are watching.
Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah.
Big fan of the channel.
Well, got to be, any.
Yeah.
When he knows what we're doing, especially Everton, I bet he was straight on it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I'm going to go away from legends now.
Okay.
I've gone through the famous fans. I like looking up the famous fans, and I found 2 famous fans.
Right. Okay.
And you'll like this, Sylvester Stallone.
No way.
He was actually, but he went to Goodison.
Yeah.
There's pictures of him on the pitch with a scarf and all that.
Yeah.
And I was told that he actually walked off the pitch and turned around and went, Adrian! And
Rocky.
The second one, and I'll let you read this person out.
Okay. John McEnroe.
You cannot be serious!
That is also random. Why does he support Everton?
I couldn't find that out.
No.
It was just famous supporters, and he was in it.
I thought for sure you were going to say Tony Bellew.
Well, yeah, everybody knows he's a famous one for the boxer, the Bomber.
Yeah, the Bomber.
Loved him. I really wanted him to win.
Fought at Goodison.
Yeah.
I like Tony Bellew as well.
Good entertaining, yeah.
Loses his head a bit, but yeah. Other than that, big Evertonian fan. Yeah, Tony Bellew. But John McEnroe and Sylvester Stallone.
Weird, isn't it?
Well, there you
Here we
go.
go.
Did you know that? Let us know down in the comments. Right, with a starting transfer budget of £80 million, we also brought in £104 million in sales. Now, a few of them we mentioned before. Players that we were flipping, for example, that centre midfielder that we managed to pick up, we managed to sell for £32 million. Tony Vlad, the left back that we could not get a work permit for, we flipped him after only signing for £15 million and not even giving him a game. We doubled our money, so good transfer business at the start of this season. Nikau, another one that we managed to flip to Real Madrid. He's now 20, he looks even better, but we just can't simply put him into the team. We loaned him out to Benfica, they barely played him, and we still managed to double our money. So we've done really well in this transfer budget amongst other players. Mohamed Kamara, free transfer, selling him back to Lyon, £15 million.
Good business.
So yeah, really good business at the start of this season. And we have brought in a few massive players. So he signed a centre midfielder from Manchester City, 29 years of age as well, which is very unlike me signing a player this age. But because we're so long in the future, it's players I don't know, so I've got no affiliation to them. Lasme Okubi, who is Ivorian. He's pretty much Yaya Toure. If you consider he played for Manchester City, he doesn't have the same similar attributes. Really good physical attributes though, he's 6'2". I think that actually is Yaya Toure's height, might be slightly taller. Really good mental attributes too, 19 for passing.
Good.
Really really solid.
First touch 18 as well.
Yeah, world-class midfielder by media description,
Yeah.
but that depends whether you go by that. And we signed him for £60 million. A
lot of money.
£5 million less than what they signed him from Wolves, but still a lot of money. He's played in the Premier League for a number of seasons now, ever since he played for Wolves almost 10 years ago. So I think that's a good little pickup in that centre midfield spot. Another huge transfer though, we replaced the left back. And this guy is easily the best left back on the game. Easily. And it took us ages to sign him because he was so committed to Brazil, who managed to go on and win the World Cup this season. Every time I was putting in the bid for Roma, they was accepting it, and he was not interested in talking until after the World Cup. It was very frustrating because I needed to sign a left back. So as you can see on the 25th of July, that's eventually when we managed to sign him from Roma. But he is a legendary left back, 28 years of age, huge player for us already. 89 caps for Brazil. He's just phenomenal.
We like our Brazilian players.
We do. £70 million. It's a lot of money, but I think he's going to be worth it. He's going to be absolutely phenomenal. If we do take a look at the tactic, we have changed it ever so slightly. So, where we had before, we had a player up here. We've moved St. Luce back, and we're going to play him in that right midfield role where he's really good at it. He's either-footed as well, and I think just given a slightly more natural position for him. We have Ronnie coming in, and we're going to give him a little bit more license as an attacking player. So we're going to try and utilise this left-hand side with how good he is and make this side a little bit more defensive with a guy being back. But this is how we are lining up for this season. We also have a goalkeeper who we signed at the end of the season on a free contract deal. Andrew Steele. 18 reflexes. I'd say he's probably better than our other goalkeeper. If we take a look at the history, he actually came through our youth system.
Well, there we go.
So there we go. He come through the youth system, 22 years of age. It popped up in my development centre that he was good enough to play in the first team, and I was like, oh shit, he actually is.
Yeah.
So there he is. He's got himself an introduction, and he goes into the team. Doesn't look too happy about it though.
Get in!
And we have won the Premier League.
Get in!
So there we go. 4 seasons it took us, and we have done it. And I personally think it's those signings which took us to that next level.
Yeah. 2 big signings, paid off then.
Big signings, 91 points we managed to finish. 87 was Arsenal, so that is absolutely fantastic.
And we lost our last game of the season.
Lost the last game to Man City 3-0, but by then we had already won the league, so it didn't matter. If we do take a look at the past positions, we dominated.
Oh, we were top of the league of the whole season, didn't we, really?
Absolutely dominated the season. So that is absolutely fantastic. Daniel Lewis scored 30 goals. He's really slacking, yet we still managed to win. Barry Clark got himself 15 assists there, so a very strong season. However, we have some other competitions to have a look at. Unfortunately, that was the only trophy we have won so far. So, fourth round of the FA Cup, we were knocked out. First round knockout by Atalanta in the Champions League. Runner-up in the Carabao Cup as well. So let's take a look at the Carabao Cup. We lost to Leicester, who have won it back-to-back.
We got to a final then,
We got to a final, but we didn't manage to win it. FA Cup was won by Leicester as well.
Yeah.
The double Leicester.
Yeah.
They've done very well. They also finished 5th in the league too. And the Champions League was won. Well, it's actually being played out still by Liverpool and Real Madrid, who obviously Atletico Madrid won it last time. Real Madrid could win it this time. Liverpool is their opponents. Now, transfers out. Niall Healy, the right back. We sold him for a very huge £53 million to Leicester.
We didn't need to sell our defenders though.
Yeah, so our Seamus Coleman has left the club. On top of a couple of £50 million sells that we've had, Barry Clark being one of them, Real Madrid. A lot of clubs come in for Barry Clark and made him very unhappy, and he wanted to leave. I found a replacement, so we sold him. We managed to total £133 million without the other sale that we've just had of our right back, Niall Healy, which counted on last year's one. Yep. So that's nearly £200 million in the kitty, and we have spent big time. The first signing, we got a backup right back. So instead of Niall Healy, we have this man, Kevin Trasard, who is still a very good elite fullback. Maybe he's not as good attacking-wise, but defensively, I think he's better. He's also 6'1", a lot taller than Niall Healy, and his physicals are monstrous. Yeah, every single one above 15 or 16. So really solid right back. We also managed to sign this huge player, Richard Endor.
90 million though.
90 million. Now, let me tell you, all of the best players seem to have accumulated themselves at Bayern Munich.
Right.
And this guy's from Bayern Munich, and we signed him for £90 million. He is a huge player, and he is a midfielder who has been scoring a lot of goals this season.
His first touch, like 20.
20 out of 20.
Halfway
Agility,
there,
balance, 20. Off the ball, 20. There's so much to like about this guy. He is fantastic. The only downside to him is probably he's 29. So we're getting him at the end of the career.
Yeah, but you can say that's in his prime nowadays, though.
It is in his
prime. They go on to about 33, 34 now.
Yeah, if he has good natural fitness, that will still last a long time. He's a legendary winger. 93 caps for France. 83 goals.
That's good, isn't it?
That's huge,
for a
isn't
midfield
it?
player.
Yeah. So he can play up top, so maybe that's where they are playing him, because he's phenomenal either way. But his natural position is a right midfielder, and he's right foot as well. So maybe a winger or a playmaker, that type of thing. But what a huge signing. That's not the only huge signing we have made, because £7 more million, 97 million, was spent on another striker, Marko Bizjak. This guy, look at him.
Croatian, eh?
Unbelievable, right? 22 years of age as well. He's one of the world's best strikers.
He's got a dodgy eye, ain't he?
He's got a dodgy 20 agility, 20 stamina, so there's a few 20s in there again. Technique of 19. Again, there's just greens everywhere, and I've had a lot of fun. Because we are like Premier League winners, our reputation has gone huge in Everton, and we're attracting big name signings like Marko Bizjak. We've got him from Roma, £97 million. He didn't score as many as what I thought he would, but he still had a good time there. 7.34. Maybe it's because Roma's nowhere near as good, but he is
Italy's a defensive league, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he is well better.
15 and 13 goals in that league. I still think that's good.
That is still good, and hopefully he can score a lot more for us, to be fair. But that's not all that we have signed. We've got a backup centre midfielder just to give us a little bit of squad depth. Looks a bit like John Cena from the face pack, 21 years of age. And we also signed a £30 million man, Tashani, who is another centre midfielder, an elite midfielder. This guy's phenomenal. English as well, 27 years of age. Kind of like a bit like a Lampard, to be honest. Has some really good box-to-box midfielder vibes about him. 5'11", runs with the ball quite often as well. £30 million from Chelsea's youth team. He's played quite a lot, to be fair, but never really had a good season. Given him the number 7 shirt, let's see how he does though, because tactically, this is how we are looking at. Of course, we have got a few new signings in our books. We have moved this position back up. We have changed it to an advanced playmaker, which is Richard Endor's favourite role. He is preferring the advanced playmaker, so why not use him in that? We have moved Bizjak up to that striker role, and we've moved Mercado, because we sold Barry Clark, to the left-hand side. I think he's just as capable of doing that. He has fantastic dribbling ability. So playing on that left-hand side, it will be easy for him to adapt to, even though he has been phenomenal for us up top. I'm going for that this season. This could be a huge season for Everton. So to end the campaign,
double
and to
champions,
end the rebuild, we are back-to-back champions.
Not many teams do that, though, do they?
Not at all. 98 points again. We've had a phenomenal time. Let's take a look at the past positions, because I think we dominated from week 2. All season. We stayed up there the whole time. And I'm not surprised. We have some of the world's best players at our books.
I think we'd have been disappointed if anything less, really.
God, yeah, absolutely. Daniel Lewis back to scoring goals, 43. Even though we've given him another striker who also scored 30, by the way, Endor had 18 assists. He's like a Kevin De Bruyne, to be honest, isn't he? World-class midfielder, can play out on the wings, can play in the middle. He likes it. Even though Arsenal have Youssoufa Moukoko, who is 31 years of age and a legendary striker, he is not good enough to win the league. That's our job. That's what we have done. Back-to-back winners. But still haven't won an FA Cup. We still haven't won a European trophy yet.
Come on.
Can we do it? We click competitions and we have won the Champions League.
Get in.
After extra time, we beat Arsenal.
Even better.
Downside to it, we never won the FA Cup.
Lost semi-final to Liverpool.
In both the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup.
I've just got to apologise to the fans for that then.
Yeah.
But they'll let us off for that one.
Yeah, I mean, we've won the Champions League, I'm pretty sure.
League.
And they didn't even win the FA Cup. Arsenal won it. So unlucky Liverpool. We do take a look at the Carabao Cup as well. That was won by Arsenal against Liverpool again. So that's very disappointing for you Liverpool fans. Unfortunately, because we go away with the Premier League and the Champions League.
We won the Charity Shield,
and the Community Shield.
Oh, the Community Shield,
Should we beat Liverpool in that? No, it's Leicester. We beat them on penalties. Let's take a look, though, at that Champions Champions League final and seeing who won it, Daniel Lewis with a penalty in the 98th minute. In a goal, in a game really, which quite surprises me considering the amount of goals that we scored ended in 0-0. But there we go, we've won it in extra time with Daniel Lewis. Dad, do you think that is a success of a rebuild?
100%.
Yeah.
Not only did we win the league once, we won it twice, and then we won the big one.
Yeah.
So once again, we nailed it.
We did. We didn't get the FA Cup, unfortunately, fans, but I'm pretty sure you'll be very happy with that. And we managed to keep hold of Daniel Lewis the whole time.
Yeah, don't think we could do that.
We've built a world-class team around him. We're probably the best team in the world right now. That is a big success in my eyes as well. So, we need your opinions, of course. Valencia or Lazio. Dad's choice is Lazio. My choice is Valencia. And, of course, we have the like total. Remind the viewers of the like total.
1,500.
1,500.
I want 1,500. Come on.
There we go. Thank you very much for watching. Dad, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you later on. Bye-bye.